Alrighty, everybody, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining me here at the Atlanta News First Alert Desk. I'm Savannah Louie, anchor here for the 10 p.m. newscast. Happy to have you with us on this Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock. And with that, we're just going to get straight into your top stories for this evening because I know a lot is going on here across the metro Atlanta area. I want to start with some news. This just into our newsroom within the past hour. We're learning more information about a suspected shooter along with someone who was shot in Douglas County in an officer-involved shooting earlier today. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation just releasing us information about these people. So according to the GBI, and again, this is just into our newsroom within the last 30 minutes or so, we're learning the deceased man involved in this Douglas County officer-involved shooting was Walter Jackson Sr., 66 years old, and the shooting suspect has been identified as Jonathan Christian Roman, 27 years old. And there are a lot of details surrounding this shooting incident. From here, we've had two different reporters on this story all day long today, our Rachel Aragon and our Patrick Quinn. I'm going to let them explain the events that occurred earlier today along with the investigation. And again, I want to be perfectly transparent with you. These stories were pre-recorded. There might be some information here that doesn't have the latest information. For example, the names of the folks involved that I just read you here. But everything else we are currently continuing to look into. And from here, I'll let our reporters explain.
A convoy of law enforcement rushing to Grady Memorial Hospital after a shooting involving a Douglas County deputy at a Douglasville home. The suspect, one victim, and the deputy all were taken to Grady. Soon, law enforcement officials from across the region arrived to show their support for the deputy who was shot, including Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shearbaum, Fulton County Sheriff Pat Labatt, and we were there when Douglas County Sheriff Tim Pounds arrived walking into Grady's Trauma Center. We also saw a Georgia Bureau of Investigation official walking out of the hospital with what appeared to be an evidence bag. I'm told Sheriff Pounds will wait to address the shooting until after the GBI completes their probe into what happened.
So just for a little more background information here that Patrick didn't touch on here, we learned earlier today that deputies arrived at the home off North Bear Drive near Kings Highway around 9:30 a.m. where a person was shot. This is according to the sheriff's office. The GBI says the deputy gave commands for that suspect to show their hands. The GBI says the suspect then shot at the deputy one time and retreated into the house and shot the deputy once more before that deputy returned fire. So this means the deputy was shot multiple times, and this all according to the GBI. The person who was originally shot was killed, and again, this person has been identified as Walter Jackson Sr., and the reported gunman and the deputy were taken to Grady Memorial Hospital. Both are expected to survive. As we continue to follow the latest developments with this story, we will, of course, bring you all the latest updates on Atlanta News First. And I believe our anchor, Carly Barnett, is on this story for us this evening. She is looking into more details, trying to speak with family. She'll be joining us this evening at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. So hopefully, if you are invested in this story, please stay with us for those newscasts as Carly continues to follow and pursue that story from here. All right, guys, I do want to switch gears, though, with a story that's captivated the country for quite some time now. Of course, we're talking about the indictment of former President Donald Trump occurring right here in the Atlanta area in Fulton County. Latest information surrounding this man on your screen right here, Mark Meadows. We are hearing that Mark Meadows is now cooperating with prosecutors in this Donald Trump indictment. Here's what we have heard. According to CBS News, Meadows has provided testimony several times in the past year before the grand jury, as well as providing prosecutors documents and text messages that have provided them with a roadmap of Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Meadows is one of 19 people indicted by Fulton County DA Fani Willis in this massive organized crime-related investigation into those alleged attempts by Trump to overturn the election here in Georgia. Now, so far, 4 people indicted have reached plea deals with Fulton County prosecutors. This includes several attorneys for the former president. And again, Mark Meadows, Trump's then White House chief of staff, he has visited Cobb County while state investigators were conducting an audit of the signatures on absentee ballots. This was all back in December 2020. And he also obtained the phone number of the chief investigator for the Secretary of State's office and passed it along to Trump, who then called her. And in that phone call, you might remember the former president asked Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to find him the votes. Obviously, the Trump indictment been one of the biggest stories we've been covering here at Atlanta News First over the past year as DA Willis continues to look toward the court date for all of these defendants here. As we learn more and as we potentially could see more folks take plea deals in this case, we're going to continue to bring you all the latest updates. So please feel free to stay with us for that. Also on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com, and on our app as well, ANF. We have an entire landing page which is dedicated to all things Trump indictment. If you haven't been following along, you think that you really would like to get caught up and you feel a little bit behind, this is really a great resource. I highly recommend it. Everything is very easy to find and very digestible, so it can get you up to speed very, very quickly and easily, and it really is a great tool if you're interested. All right, guys, I want to move on to our final story of this evening. I thought this was a talker, a pretty interesting story here surrounding Georgia's lieutenant governor with a pretty interesting idea. How would you feel about if your child's teacher was paid to carry firearms? Yeah, see, I knew that would catch your attention here. Georgia's lieutenant governor wants to pay teachers $10,000 a year to carry guns at schools. So this all was announced earlier today. Republican Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, speaking at an elementary school in Winder on Wednesday, he said that he wants the state to spend more money on school safety. And this would include paying teachers and other non-officers to take firearms training and paying teachers who hold a firearms training certificate an annual stipend. This is pretty interesting stuff. His plan also calls for stricter standards for already required school safety plans, and then also boosting the money that the state gives schools to hire school resource officers with police certification. Salary and benefits for these types of officers can cost $80,000, sometimes more. This is really just a way to not only protect staff and faculty, but also to prepare law enforcement and the system. That, again, is according to the Republican Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. For the past several years now, I mean, I've been in this business nearly a decade, and the amount of school shootings, just here in Atlanta, but in general in the U.S. that we've had to cover, it is devastating. And I think no matter what side of the aisle you're on, you're sick of the violence. You want to protect your kids. You want to protect our school systems. And this is really just the latest topic of discussion that is making waves and being considered right now, at least in the state of Georgia here. A lot of really interesting stuff to track, guys. All right, well, hey, it is 8:08, and I'm so happy that you could join me. But I want to spread the love here because I know someone else is very eager to see all of your beautiful smiling faces this evening. And speaking of beautiful smiling faces, we're going to see if I can get this done on the first try here.
I don't know how long I can hold this smile.
Patrick Pete. All right, keep your fingers crossed. Can we do it? Ah! I'm going to say this, Patrick. I am a good reporter. I'm a good anchor. I am not good with technology. So the fact that we made this happen is really fantastic today.
I'm glad I only have to push a couple of buttons when I get up there because I'm not the best with technology either.
Your job is more important, though, than the tech. You have a forecast that everybody is waiting on with bated breath because we got the weekend coming up, we got Halloween coming up, and we also just got the rest of the week coming up, and we're trying to make it through with this beautiful forecast. So do you mind if I pull up your graphic? Or do you want
go ahead, throw it up.
Do you want the camera or your graphic?
Graphic.
Graphic, okay. I got you.
Although that's not mine, but I'm going to let it ride.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
I told you I was not good with
Max
technology.
2, but it's
Max
okay.
2. No, dude, I'm going to do this for you.
Yeah, so just a little bit of a back end, guys. We have a team of 7 meteorologists. So we actually have 5 different Max boxes that
Max
we
2?
use, to talk about our forecast.
This is it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, thank gosh. Okay.
We have 5 different boxes that we use to build our graphics. We do our forecasting on those boxes and all that good stuff. And then we also have another supercomputer program that we use, and that one is called Baron. So we have a lot of different tools God, I can't. You know what? You're not going to see a whole lot of me today because, unfortunately, I'm down at Savannah site and I don't know how to fix that. So, Savannah, you want to help me? I'll take you back out to the airport while I try to get this up to par. Producer Brett's coming over to help me out. My setting is 10, my preset. I just don't know how to get there. Bam. There we go. Look at God. Alrighty, so we're back in business, folks. Happy Wednesday, Wind Down Wednesday. Feeling amazing out there. The forecast is looking pretty good as we head through the rest of the work week. We're talking about warming temperatures each afternoon. There's going to be a few more clouds around here or there, some patchy fog in the morning, but all in all, we're trending towards just fantastic afternoons through the weekend. As we head into next week, that's when things start to get a little tricky. This Halloween forecast, this Monday evening through Wednesday time period, is very fluid. It's been in flux for the last day or two. That's why there's no first alerts, but we do want to give you a heads up on what we're tracking. And it looks like we're going to have a cold front that is going to be digging down but stalling out to the north. This time of year, sometimes the cool air can kind of overrun the front a little bit. So we do believe that we're going to get some northerly flow that moves into the area on Monday night into Tuesday, despite that front being to the north of us. And that's going to allow those temperatures to trend cooler. But it looks as though the front will not move through, which means the rain will not push in until Wednesday. So you'll want to stick with us as we head through the next day or two. We're going to continue to fine tune that. We need to see several more model runs to get that timing on when exactly that front's going to move in, because it's going to make the difference, because you're going to see temperatures are going to trend cooler after that front moves in. But let's talk about the dry time, because the models are in consensus that tomorrow's going to be a dry day, partly cloudy, but with south winds, that's going to allow those temperatures to climb even higher than they were today. And most locations topped out in the mid-70s. So looking pretty good. In the mornings, we're talking about numbers in the upper 50s, near 60 degrees as you're punching the clock. We will easily sail into the low 70s as we head into the afternoon. And then we're going to be watching those temperatures climbing to the upper 70s as the kids are getting out of school, you're getting off work. It's just going to feel amazing outside. If you're off work on Thursday, it's going to be a good day to be outside from about, I'd say, 12 to about 7. It's just going to be amazing. Those numbers comfortably in the 70s. Meanwhile, we're going to see a similar setup for your Friday. Still dealing with some clouds around, starting off the day near 60 degrees. We'll warm into the mid-70s, even some upper 70s as early as lunchtime Friday. So going to be a great day, good payday forecast. The clouds around, but still getting into the upper 70s. And I do expect some isolated pockets to hit that 80-degree mark Friday afternoon. I think the better chance for us getting there in the city will arrive on Saturday and Sunday. But keeping the rain chances down through the weekend. Listen, I know there's tailgating parties for the Georgia-Florida game. Georgia Tech has a game. There's all kind of things going on outside this weekend. It's looking fantastic. You can see those rain chances do come back into the forecast on Wednesday. Right now, that's where our guidance is showing that front actually pushing through. And you can see what happens to our temperatures. We climb into the low 80s, flirting with the record high on Sunday as we get into the low 80s, and then we'll see those numbers cool down. Looks like that north wind on Tuesday, Halloween, is going to cause us to only climb into the upper 60s. So a little bit of a breeze. Kids are going to be trick-or-treating. That means that it may feel a degree or two cooler, so you may want them to have a jacket. This doesn't look like a thick parka type of event, but definitely some sleeves for sure needs to be implemented as of right now in that Halloween forecast. And then we turn cooler as we head into your Wednesday. You'll see temperatures only top out in the upper 50s, and that's where we have that best chance of seeing some showers. And all of my weather lovers that are on the line, whether you're at home watching us on ANF Plus, on our app, on your TV, or on Roku or Amazon, or you're streaming us on YouTube, you've probably seen some of the images. There haven't been a lot of them coming out of Acapulco with Hurricane Otis. It's thoughts and prayers are with the folks in that part of Mexico. You don't really get systems that strong in that part of Mexico, and this one rapidly intensified. It went from winds at roughly 75 miles per hour to 165 over the course of 24 hours. So that was a rapid intensification to the likes of that not many storms have done. I think there's only one other storm that has intensified that much over that time period. And it's a P storm, and I want to say it's either Patricia or Priscilla, but I can't remember. But it's so rare that doesn't happen. So these folks literally had little time to prepare. You know, what they thought was just a tropical storm ended up being way more than that. So think about you leaving your house thinking that you're only going to get a tenth of an inch of snow, but instead of getting a tenth of an inch of snow, you get 20 inches of snow. And we're talking about here in Atlanta. We know what an inch can do, half an inch can do to us. It's that type of magnitude of thing, you know, where you're prepared for one thing and you get the other. And it's just an unfortunate situation, you know. I looked at some of the guidance, and the guidance wasn't there for that type of intensification from what I saw. Once again, I wasn't, you know, keeping my eye on that one because we have our own little tropical system that we're watching, although not gonna do that at all by any stretch of the imagination. But you know, our focus is obviously on the Atlantic side of the tropics, not so much the Pacific side. So but definitely thoughts and prayers are with folks there. If you have friends, relatives, family, praying for you, praying that they're all safe, because the images that I've seen, which have not been many, have just not been the best. Let's talk about Tammy. Cat 2 hurricane, wind sustained at 100 miles per hour, moving towards the northeast at about 14 miles per hour. This is going to run into some cooler water, so we do expect this to start to weaken as it heads through the next couple of days or so. And no matter what it does as far as moving in the direction of Bermuda, it'll be weaker at that point. Once it gets to its closest point, they'll probably get some impacts. For sure, they'll get waves, maybe a breeze, and maybe even some rain. So we'll continue to monitor that. Right now, the guidance has been trending with the resolution that's been keeping it a little bit further to the east, which is great news for folks that are in Bermuda. But if that changes, I will let you know. I'm going to go back to the 7-day forecast so that you guys can take a look at that. And I'm going to switch. Those of you at home that are watching us on Amazon or Roku, you don't really have a mechanism to ask questions, but sometimes I see some YouTube questions. Good evening, Wesley. Thank you, Wesley. It's middle of the week, you know, some days the days are just days. But yes, thank you. It is Wednesday. There's some chats sometime down there that I missed out on yesterday that I wanted to come and acknowledge. So thank you guys for joining us. I am going to go back to work because there's a lot of stuff going on with this system next week. Meteorologist Fred Campagna and myself will have updates for you on what that latest guidance is doing as far as that Halloween forecast and, of course, that rain chance that moves in next week. You can catch us on Peachtree TV at 10. And Atlanta News First at 11. Y'all have a fantastic Wednesday. Have a glass of Malbec for me.